Landis Block. Create your very own jaw-dropping. Get Backyard Paradise online at landisbc.com. Back-to-back years where John Kincade was on vacation and major Saquon Barkley news happens. Last year, it was the signing of Saquon Barkley. This year, the historic contract extension that makes him the highest-paid running back in the history of the NFL. Schefter, good morning. What did you make of this move yesterday? Were you caught off guard by it? Was this something that's been worked out since the Super Bowl? I was amazed when I saw the news.
Well, I figured at some point this offseason that Saquon Barkley's contract would be adjusted and reworked, and he would be rewarded. I did not think that it would be this quick. So that surprised me that it would happen this quickly. I think back to last year when Christian McCaffrey redid his deal, and that probably became the initial deal that this deal was worked off of. I don't think that deal got done until the spring. But the Eagles wasted no time, and they felt like Saquon deserved a raise, gave him more guaranteed money. Hard to argue. I mean, the guy has basically accomplished everything you'd want, and they paid him for it yesterday.
Is this more of a running back thing in the NFL, or is this a Saquon-specific thing? Because we've seen guys like Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs get those free agent paydays last year, be big parts of competitive teams. Was this a Saquon in a vacuum, or do you see the running back position starting to trend in this way?
Well, could it be both? Could it be that the running back is starting to trend in that way, and also the Eagles are doing the right thing by taking care of a guy that clearly outplayed his contract? It could be both, I think. And you know, it's not like all of a sudden these other teams are going to rip up their running back contracts today and reward their guys with $20 million a year deals at the running back. That's not going to happen. But what's going to happen is over time, this is going to, of course, push up the salaries of running backs, which those salaries had fallen in recent years. And they still have not achieved the levels of the top wide receivers who are being paid $35 million a year. Chase can get 40. But it's a situation where running back salaries are starting to climb back up, and we're looking at a draft class that supposedly is incredibly deep at the running back position. So these are guys 3-4 years from now that are going to benefit from this deal that Saquon did yesterday.
How strategic was the timing of the move for the Eagles, not only so that they could see how much cap space they had entering free agency, but could this been a way to be like, hey, look at what we do for our guys, upcoming free agents who would like to sign with the Philadelphia Eagles? Does that help them out in the long run?
I don't think that matters. I think, look, you know, if there's a guy they want, there's a guy they're going to pay for, there's a guy that wants to be there, they're going to pick that for those reasons, not because, boy, look at how Saquon or the Eagles were loyal and took care of say. I don't think that's why a free agent is going to choose Philadelphia. I just think it's a sign of a good, strong organization, but it's not why somebody's going to pick them.
Now, we've seen the Eagles make a couple of other moves this week as well, moving on from Darius Slay. Now they could bring him back. James Bradbury as well, and this Saquon restructure. They've cleared up about $13 million in cap space. To you, Adam, does this seem more like a setup to re-sign free agents that were on the team last year, or a setup for Howie Roseman to be aggressive when free agency opens?
I think they're one of their top priorities is getting back Zach Bond. I mean, I think that's somebody that they would like to get back, somebody that they've been talking to, somebody they're working to bring back, and the question will become whether or not they can get him back to Philadelphia. I think when you're talking about Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, I think the market on those two players is going to be so rich that I think, in my mind, they've probably resigned themselves to the fact that it's going to be really difficult to bring them back, and in all probability, they're not going to return to Philadelphia. But there are certain guys that are within your sights, like Zach Bond, that you want to work on getting done. And then, of course, you want to have the flexibility should any other deals arise, should any other interesting scenarios pop up. You want to be in position to move forward and get a deal done. And so they're giving themselves the flexibility they need this week to get that done.
We're joined by Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline here on 97.5 The Fanatic, WPEN, WPN, HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group Station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. Earlier in the show, Adam, just live on the air, I searched Fire Howie Roseman on social media. because it wasn't that long ago where that was a talking point here among Philadelphia fans and media members as well. And it was back in January of 2021. And of the 4,000 responses, the poll had a 93% response for yes, fire Howie Roseman. What have been some of the biggest changes that maybe Howie has done himself or the organization have done to go from potentially wanting to be outed by fans, and now he's being talked about as one of the best GMs in football and maybe all of sports?
Well, that's funny, first of all, that 93% wanted him gone.
93%.
Yeah. And I just think that goes to show that there are good people in coaching, front offices, players, that people are calling for their jobs all the time. And Howie's evolved and changed. But you said, what year was that, 21?
That was 2021. So this is following the Rager selection. This is following the Wentz debacle. So Wentz had just been traded, I believe.
Yeah. So Jalen Hurts is on the roster. They were a year away or so away from trading for A.J. Brown. They probably had just drafted Devontae Smith, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say this. Like, I don't know, Howie's evolved like everybody evolves in their job, and he studied it, but he was the same obsessed, driven, determined general manager in 21 that he is in 25. There's not a lot of difference. And again, it just goes to show you that people want people fired. Bill Belichick got fired in Cleveland and went on to become arguably, certainly one of the greatest coaches in NFL history. So everybody evolves, everybody changes, but at their core, people are who they are, and it shows you the impatient impetuousness of sports, that people want change and they want blood and they want heads. Just how it is.
So sorry, go ahead.
That's how it is. That's how the sports world works.
Yeah, so what is it about the Eagles' organizational structure that allows them to constantly be on the forefront of the NFL in deals like this?
Well, I think it starts with ownership, with Jeffrey Lurie, and then you go down to the GM and the front office that they've assembled. And every year it feels like the Eagles have top front office candidates that are being interviewed for GM jobs, that have been GMs before, that are experienced. Just a very experienced, seasoned front office with a lot of bright people with bright futures there. They're out in front. It just certain organizations do things the right way with good employees and good people, and they are that. That's what they do. And by the way, it's not all that different. So again, in 2025, they're refined and they've taken things to the next level. But they were that way in 2021 too, when 93% of the people wanted them fired too.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Schefter, obviously we are also looking at down the road, and we know that Zach Bond could be a player that they target to try to bring back. Will target. Love that. What about post-draft? I don't think this Myles Garrett situation happens anytime soon. I could be wrong. You would know more than I would. I know Max Crosby is a name. Go ahead.
Can we stop this Myles Garrett thing? It's not real. It's not real. Like, could it happen that one day Philadelphia stumbles into trading for Myles Garrett? Yes. For all the people who are waiting with bated breath for the Eagles to trade for Myles Garrett, focus your energy elsewhere. Okay? Here's a team that's fighting to free up cap space to do stuff in free agency. They're going to want to re-sign Jordan Davis and Cam Jurgens from the draft class of 2022. They're going to want to re-sign Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith from the draft class of 2023. I'm going to imagine they're going to want to re-sign Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean from the class of 2024. They're going to want to make free agent moves. Who are they trading for Myles Garrett, and how are they affording Myles Garrett. Explain to me how that's going to work.
Right. So you answered my question. I was going to ask, is there another big splash? Because Max Crosby is a name that's being thrown out there as well, and it is a position of need at the end. But like you said, there's not much to give up for the Eagles.
Look, Sean McVay said this week when talking about Cooper Kupp, who I expect the Rams to move on from next week, there are no absolutes. And so I want to say this with everything that I say and be very clear. There are no absolutes. And sure, the Eagles could trade for Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. But they're not trading for Myles Garrett or Max Crosby. Okay? They're just not doing that. It's just not happening. We're living in fantasy land.
Well.
And I'm on the field after the Super Bowl, and I have Eagles fans say, are we trading for Myles Garrett? I'm like, you just won the Super Bowl. Give it up. Relax.
They're ready for more, Schefty. They want more.
I got it. And they can get more in other ways. But you're not trading anytime soon for a player who's going to make $35, $40 million a year on the defensive side of football when you've got to pay your own homegrown talent that you did a great job drafting and have to reward at some point in time and have to budget for that. And then what are you trading for them? It just, we keep talking about it and speculating about it. And again, there are no absolutes. So sure, could it somehow wind up happening? Always. It's just not very practical or realistic. That's all.
Yeah. Now, I do have one absolute for you. The Eagles are defending Super Bowl champions. So the obvious answer to the question about them being the benchmark in the NFL right now is yes, they're the reigning champs. But with the way they conduct their business, are the Eagles, we'll use a term that's been used in this city before, are they the gold standard of the NFL for the foreseeable future right now?
Well, for right now, they are. I mean, you could have said the Chiefs were coming off 2 straight Super Bowl wins. So you would have said that. And if the Chiefs had won that game in February, then they would be the gold standard. You would say that about them. But for now, the Eagles hold that title for whatever it's worth. And it's not like anything shifted. They've always done things the right way. They've always been a strong organization. They've always drafted and coached well. So, I mean, they're right where they are. They're just getting their flowers and they're praised because they deserve it, because they've been like this for a while. But people now can give them that praise. They've been validated by winning the Super Bowl. So, it's shower them with praise until they lose their next game in September, and then people will be voting again on whether or not to fire Howie Roseman.
It's unbelievable. Just 4 years ago, 93%. Shefty, listen, man, we appreciate the time as always. Next week, it's free agency, legal tampering. Shefty.
Well, by this time next week, free agency will probably be mostly over. I'm going to guess by Wednesday at this time, because Monday and Tuesday always seem to be the 2 single busiest days of the.
It's as if they already have certain ideas now during the illegal tampering period. Just a thought.
It's I know we call it tampering, but it's a negotiating period. You're allowed to kind of come to deals, and they do. They do. People aren't waiting, so that's sort of how it works.
You're the man, Schefter. We appreciate the time as always. John will be back next week, so we'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Hope John's okay. Appreciate it. And we'll be
he's on vacation. He's in Jamaica. He is more than okay. Phone is turned off.
Where he went away? Where'd he go?
He's in Jamaica, man. He's in the Caribbean. He's more than okay.
Good for John. Yeah, he's hanging out. He's chilling out. Boy, it must be nice to be able to go away in the first week in March.
Yeah, it must be. Second year in a row he's been away when Saquon Barkley news broke. Maybe he needs to just keep on going away, and good things happen for the Eagles during the offseason. Shefty, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Have a great.
There he is, Adam Schefter on the Comcast Business Hotline.
Hey, guys, it's Connor Thomas from Kincade and Salciunas. Thanks so much for checking out our most recent interview with ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter. If you want more Shefty content, click up here and make sure you're subscribing to the 97.5 The Fanatic YouTube page for more great content.